the building, and that's melt leaching down the building. Black soot and melt leaching down the structure. We're at the same building that we were at before, 2 videos back, the ashen structure, but we're taking a look at the rest of it here. It goes all the way down. This wall structure, and there's a build out inside. It's a right angle building. Okay, we saw it in the last video. We see it here. You know, I can even show you here. Let me just go back here a bit. Oops, excuse me. You see all the lines here, and they're melted. And it's this stuff all leached down at once. This happened likely in minutes. All this damage. And there's this water down here is coming from that spring, which I showed you in the last video. That spring. And it's just this wall's a mess. It was red bricks. Yes, it was. And it's a mess. And that section of like flooring right there, you can see going all the way through, or maybe just a row of bricks, but it seems to be like a section of flooring or something in there. I don't know. It's about 12 feet high from the ground down there. And yeah, it's just more melt. You can see how viscous this was up here. That's what I'm looking at. And all the brick lines here, all these mortar lines, bricks everywhere. And it's not supposed to be hot. This is all supposed to be carved over millions of years, or through an ice age flood, rather, not millions of years. This is supposed to be ice age floods, is what carved these out, they say. No, they didn't. This is burnt. This is hot and burnt and melted. It's melting over itself like ice cream. Squishing down at the bottom. Look at that. Look at the bottom of it. Carbon-14 leached out of the building. There's barely any left right there. A bit of red right there in the middle because the bricks were red. And there's not many left, eh? There's not much of the red left, eh? It's all black and burnt. And white ash on the inside. White powder, brick powder, ashy powder. That's all it is. Over here it's harder stone, it's like limestone over here, but the further up we go here, the more ashy it gets. I mean, if you saw the last video, part 1 here at this location, it was very ashy. Very, very ashy. Yeah. So that one date back there said 1970. That's the. I wasn't reading the carvings really this time, but you can see it's a multi-sectional structure, right angle building. It's a right angle building. For fact, look at this right angle building. Multi-sectional structure here with that big seam right there. Are you kidding me? It's supposed to be sedimentary layers going horizontal with the horizon. No, they're not. We got vertical, straight, perfect lines, seams, and right angles. It's a right angle building. And it's melted. It's not supposed to be hot like this, and you can tell it was hot. So we got some steel drums up there, and yeah, so Panasonic, you can take it away from here.
Borderline. It's a sedimentary line, Panasonic. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's another seam right here. There's another seam. What's this seam right here then? If it's sedimentary, what's that seam doing upright and cock angled here? It's supposed to be this way, right? It's supposed to be this way. What happened here? Whoops. Then why is it so straight? It's a fracture, eh? It's a fracture? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's perfectly straight. Are you kidding me? Then why is that one cock angled then? No, the rest of them are this way. That's a seam. It's a building. It's another. See these seams here. Multi-sectional structures. There's a big wall up here made of train wood. Blocking something up. And those guys who paint up there, those guys who paint that stuff, I'm not convinced that they're just rebels. I'm convinced more so that the artists hired. And this don't belong. That don't belong. That's masonry. Came off the structure, tumbled down, and what's that doing here? That's noticeably Pebble Creek. I'm not going to walk here, there's water. But, what's that doing there? That's flat surface masonry. You can see that it is. Let's call it concrete because it looks like concrete, but it's Pebblecrete. Let's call it Pebblecrete. What it is Pebblecrete. But back here, it's orange and leaching carbon-14 out. That shows you it's brick. And it was brick. Now it's a mangled mess of Pebblecrete. But that masonry right there, if you don't buy into that's Pebblecrete, let's just say it's concrete then. Let's just do that, even though it's not. But if you want to believe that, what's it doing there then? They dumped it off for what? Why did they dump 2 rocks right here? 2 rocks of concrete right there. Off a train for what? They don't stop the trains and get off and dump stuff. They don't do that. They come right through and they pass right through. They don't do that. They don't get out and dump stuff. Okay? This is melting down. Not over time, one day. There was a day where smoke billowed up from every city in the known realm. That is a fact. When this happened here, smoke billowed that day. That night, that day, was probably a very dark day because the sky was probably black with smoke and soot. Because the whole realm got smoked. So that was a very dark day. A very dark day indeed. Likely very wet and very hot. Very hot, very wet, and very. It was hell manifested, baby. That's what it was. This was a day of hell. That's what it was. A day of hell is what I would guess. Maybe you know, I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong about the melted structures. I don't know how it happened or when it happened or how long, but I can take a good guess and use my intuition and use my sense, and I can just say, oh, that's melted pretty good. I see the same evidence, and look at the bricks in there, brick lines, brick width, always the same brick size. Why aren't the sedimentary layers ever like an inch big, like an inch? They're always like these, you know, these 3-inch brick size, brick width apart. I never see like inch long, inch wide sedimentary layers. I see brick size sedimentary layers everywhere. Like there's really smashed bricks in here. See the smashed, the mortar line in there. Smashed section of bricks right there. And you can see that they were melted, not carved by water. These aren't water marks, water lines. That's not evidence for water. It's showing the opposite. And these are bricks in here. Yeah, and so let me just quickly look over here again. I thought I saw something I don't want to miss. And it's all ashified. That's why it's chunking down and crumbling down. It's ash now. It's loose. It's dangerous. But however, okay, I can't find that piece. Now, around the corner here it gets pretty extreme, so prepare ye. Big section of wall up there, huge. It gets better though. Hang on with me here, hang on. Yeah, so around the corner here, wait till you see this. Wait till you see how big it gets. It's obvious structure. This is the trees growing into it here. And it gets bigger, it gets bigger. Hang on. It's melting down, you can see, melting down and getting a lot bigger. Lots of melt. And we should not have patterns of anything. Water does not leave such viscous holes and such. And water does not leave these patterns that we see. Water does not do this. And then leave stuff burnt and melted over itself and hot still and with ash, with coal and ash, charcoal on its surface. When did this get hot? Because we weren't told when this got hot. Right? We weren't told the truth about any of it. This here is an old piece of technology here. It's an old piece of technology. I'll show you what I mean. It gets pretty big here. The bases here are burnt, are fucking burnt, smoked, masonry, damaged, plate design, plate and rivet design, plate and rivet design. You better believe it. Square fucking heads. Okay. And look at this. Yeah, it's an old world. It's been here. It's been here. That's old. That's pretty neat. They were using that in the old fucking world. I'm almost certain of it. I mean, they were using the same techniques afterward, but that masonry that there's burnt and smoked and damaged. Here's the structure, baby. Here's the rest of it, baby. You know?
So here's what I'm getting from this structure. This structure here that we're looking at is actually a part of the original wall, which I shared with you, just like a month back, 2 months back. I'm not sure. The wall, though, the big wall that we were looking at. This is actually the same wall, but we're on the completely opposite side of downtown. Completely the opposite. We're on the east. We're on the east side of St. Paul now. Before we were on the lower west side, but it's the same wall. It's the same wall. And what I get from this wall is I see photographs. There's not many of them. But there are some existing. And I have some interesting maps I'm going to look at of St. Paul that I'll be sharing with you soon. That seem to be showing walls, old Star City walls. And it seems to have been one of those cities where we have the walls with all the points. Like I'll draw it out here. Like, where you have those cities where you'll have like a wall and it will just have like all these little points all over the city, and it have all these little points and it will just go like all around and little tiny little points everywhere, like this. This is what St. Paul was like, and Minneapolis, one of these kinds of cities. And what I think we're looking at here is the remnants of that wall, because this is the wall. We're on the complete opposite side. Before, we were on, like, say, here, I'll draw it in. Maybe you can. So downtown would be, like, right here. So here's the buildings downtown. We were looking at the section of wall before. All of the sections I brought you were on this side over here. Oops, I better I'll use yellow. We were looking at this section of wall over here, and there's much more. Here, I'll mark with white that I want to see. I want to see a lot more of this over here. Interesting stuff over here in white. But we saw the yellow right there. We saw that section of wall. And right now, we are over with this pinkish fuchsia. We are looking at this section of wall on this side of downtown. We are over here. And it's the same wall. It's the same wall. It goes around. Downtown is up above this wall. The city is built on top of this. Or not really. The streets have been raised. It's really weird. It's just it's strange how it's been designed. It's really a mystery. But anywho, this is what's happening here. Before we were at the yellow part of the wall. Now we're here at the pink or the fuchsia. And it seems to be one of those pointy walls. Now I'll drop the labels. You see all these points here? Many of these angles that you see here in the wall seem to be at the same angle. Many of them. And this is not a good example, but a lot of these here are at the same angle. You'll find like this one here, and there'll be like one, not much farther down. We'll be at the same angle. So I don't think that's nature doing that perfectly and on an accident. And I think that this is a part. I think we're seeing the last remnants of that pointy Star City wall in St. Paul, Minnesota. I know we are.
Here's the rest of it, baby. It's a right angle building. Say A. It's a right angle building.
And it's all structure in there. It's all built out.
Piece of masonry falling down the hillside here, and it's all limestone. Limestone, it can be either yellow or gray, or variations of that, browns and burnt colors. Any burnt colors, gray, browns, but you have red up here. You have red lines still remaining. Carbon-14 has not leached out.
Oh, right there, pants on, right there. Like right here. If you notice that these sections up here, these angles right here will often, you'll find these strange angles up here. Many of them, if you look at the flattest surfaces of them here, some of them will be at the same angle. And will be coming out and protruding at the same angle. Like exactly the same. I ought to maybe...
Train.
Yeah.
Yeah, train. Is it a big one? I don't know. It might be noisy, so if it gets noisy, just hang with me until we get around the corner. There's bricks up there. Yeah, baby. Well, I'm officially stuck on this side now. Hopefully you can hear me. It's not that noisy. These aren't that bad, these kinds of cars. The box cars, there's not many box cars either, so it might be good. It might be good. Oh, you blocked the sun now. You blocked the sun.
Look at the limestone here. Look at the limestone here. It can be yellow or it can be gray. Okay, it can be yellow or it can be gray. They're both limestone. And look at the perfect line right down the center. And look how flat the surfaces are. That's because they were flat right angle bricks constructing this stuff. Okay? That's why they break off in straight lines. If you build a house with a bunch of round stones and you break a chunk off of the house, it's not going to break off in straight right angle lines. It's going to break off in round, ugly chunks because the house is made of balls, right? If you make a house built with balls and you take a chunk out of it, it's not going to, the chunk is not going to come out in flat angle. Now, if you have a brick wall and you rip a chunk out, that chunk may come out in right angles because you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. It's just common sense. You rip through a brick wall, you may have a bunch of bricks, looking like this, but they're still at right angles and such, and you only get these right angles and flat surfaces if that's what you're working with, if that's what the material is. If you have a bunch of rounds or just, if this was to be compacted, it just not making sense. It's not making sense. That does not work. You don't get this flat right angle masonry from sediments falling out of the sky, which doesn't happen anyway. I don't care millions of nothing. Millions of years, nothing, but this structure here, we can take a look here. We'll finish this off. I'll let this run.
Over here.
Or you know what? My plan is, now what happened was, I'll have to tell you, I'll tell you about that story later. Now, this night, oh boy, this was one wild and crazy night. I'll tell you what. Oh, Pants On right now thinks he's all good and dandy right now and having a good old time here in the melt poking at the ash, eh? And I think I'm having a great time, and I was having a great time poking at the ash, eh? And look at this masonry here. What's that doing here? What's the masonry doing here? Fell off the building, baby. It fell off the building. So why are there big chunks of concrete falling off down here from up there? It is concrete, you can see, or pebblecrete. What are those doing there? You see that? We know what that. Look at that. It came down as a right angle chunk with a fancy edge. Look at that. Right angle masonry came down off the building. Right here too. Came down off the building. They didn't dump this off of a train. They don't do that. This stuff is heavy, okay? It's in the ash right there, lying in the ash. Came off the building, rolled off the building. They're all just chunks rolling down everywhere. But this is St. Paul. I'll tell you about the rest of the story here about this night on another day, on another occasion. Oh, but I'll tell you what. I was thinking I was all good and jolly dandy right now, eh? Oh, pants on, you have it in for you. But things did turn out just fine. But I'll tell you what. A meltologist is going to be out there looking for the evidence, no matter what. And no matter what comes our way or gets in our way, we're still going to be looking for the melt. It don't matter how crazy things get. This is what we do, and this is why we do it. Because we love it, baby. I love this limestone here. This limestone here. I love it. It can be yellow or it can be gray. And here's a prime example of it. Look at it coming down off the structure. Yellow and gray. Yellow and gray. Limestone.
The color will smoke out to an orange first, and then a yellow, and then it will go, to like a white, and then even gray. If it gets black and charcoal, it will go black and then gray and then white, or it will go red to yellow, or red to orange to get. You know how it works? That's how colors work when they get burnt. If you
yes.
char it.
So now we have yellow and gray limestone. They were red fucking bricks at right angles here, chipping off the building in right angles because they were right angle bricks it was built with. And I love you all. Take care. This was St. Paul. And what I was getting at is this night was crazy. And I did discover that there are some openings in caves, rather what they call them caves around here. There are some caves in this section here. I couldn't find any. I was looking for them. I was looking for them everywhere here, but I couldn't find them until the end of the night here. But oh boy, did I go through it before that happened, before I figured out what was. But anywho, take care, everyone.